Week 32. Day 218, on protein in your diet. Potential beneficial outcomes associated with protein ingestion include the following. 1. Increased satiety. Protein generally increases satiety to a greater extent than carbohydrate or fat and may facilitate a reduction in energy consumption. 2. Increased thermogenesis. Higher protein diets are associated with increased thermogenesis, which also influences satiety and augments energy expenditure. And 3. Maintenance or accretion of fat-free mass. In some individuals, a moderately higher protein diet may provide a stimulatory effect on muscle protein anabolism, favoring the retention of lean muscle mass. Douglas Patton Jones. Research suggests that one of the simplest ways to improve your adherence to a diet is to increase the amount of protein in it. Protein is a miraculous macronutrient. It's not only the body's important building block, but is also more satiating than carbohydrates or dietary fat. Moreover, when on a diet, consuming higher amounts of protein helps to retain muscle mass. Foods rich in protein include meat, fish, eggs, cheese, milk, yogurt, beans, nuts and seeds. Making sure that your diet is rich in protein will help you lose weight, but also to maintain a healthy weight later on. So if your diet is mostly carbohydrate and fat-rich, make some adjustments to include more protein-rich foods. However, be careful to not increase your overall calorie intake. When looking for potential high-protein foods, make sure that higher content of protein doesn't come with higher amounts of fat. It's a common combination. Day 219, on dropping unnecessary tasks. You can complete a project by dropping it. Arianna Huffington. I understand, there's certain allure in being busy all the time, always having a long list of things to do. And let's not forget, you're the only one who can perform all those tasks, right? However, if you want to become more productive and still have energy for your other goals, when you look at your to-do list, in addition to thinking about when and how to do a certain task, ask yourself if you can drop it. For example, one of my contractors recently pointed out there was a small mistake in one of my old books. I'm not going to lie. At first, I added it to my to-do list. But then, the next day, I realized that the error was so inconsequential that it made no sense to spend time fixing it. I had more pressing things to attend to, and my readers would benefit more from another book of mine released on time than me wasting time fixing a thing nobody had ever noticed before. Look at your to-do list and be honest with yourself. How many tasks are there on your list because you put them there automatically, without even asking yourself if they're important? How about dropping them to make more time for what matters? Day 220, on a lack of vision. A lot of times when people come to us and they say, "Hey, I really struggle with self-discipline in this area or that area," what we almost always find is it's not that they struggle as much from a lack of discipline as they do from a lack of vision. The amount of our endurance is directly proportionate to the clarity of our vision. Rory Vaden. When you're staring at this delicious piece of cake, you might start wondering why you're taking such great pains to avoid it. Unless you have a clear, specific vision that acts as a mental picture reminding you why, it's easy to say to hell with it. After all, you aren't really sure why you're depriving yourself of such a pleasure, so why continue to do it? I strongly suggest starting each day with a quick mental reminder of your goals. Imagine what you want to accomplish, how it will make you feel, and why it's so important that you want to reach it. On my journey toward building a successful business, I regularly read a document that described, in detail, the future in which my goals are accomplished. It not only made it easier for me to stay productive and keep going despite hardships, but also made the prospect of achieving my goal more vivid and boosted my confidence that I would eventually reach it. Write a few paragraphs that describe your own goals or create a vivid mental image and frequently review it to boost your resolve and enable you to stay away from temptations. Day 221, on anti-models. People focus on role models. It is more effective to find anti-models, people you don't want to resemble when you grow up. Nassim Taleb. A common piece of advice to inspire you to pursue your ideal lifestyle is to find successful people whom you'd like to emulate. However, what sometimes works better than positive motivation is negative motivation. For example, you'll most likely run faster if you're running away from a psychopathic killer than if you're running in a race with monetary prizes. In the same way, you might find more motivation in making a list of traits or describing the kind of a lifestyle you don't want to live, identifying people you don't want to resemble, and then using them as your anti-models. Whenever you find yourself tempted to give up, cheat, or otherwise betray your values, remind yourself that each time you're doing it, you're getting closer to becoming your anti-model. If you've chosen your anti-models well, you'll do whatever you can to avoid their fate. And that's the power of negative motivation. If you don't know any people who can serve as anti-models, imagine your future self as a person who did the opposite of what you want and is now stuck in living the worst kind of a lifestyle that you could ever imagine. Treat the undesirable future you as your anti-model. Day 222, on your depleting willpower. Self-control is highest in the morning and steadily deteriorates over the course of the day. Kelly McGonigal. Some scientists, like Kelly McGonigal and Roy Baumeister, believe that willpower is a depleting resource. You wake up with a specific amount of willpower and it steadily decreases during the day until, in the evening, you're supposedly no longer in control of your actions. In their research, critics of this theory like Veronica Job and Carol S. Dweck pose that whether willpower is a resource or not largely depends on what you think about the issue. 221 If you believe that your self-control is something that you use up during the day, that will be the case. If you believe it's something that is with you whenever and wherever you want it, you won't notice a drop in self-control over the course of the day. Instead of taking sides, I suggest being neutral about it. Even if your willpower is not a depleting resource, it's better to perform your habits in the morning, not because your self-control will run out later on, but because things tend to happen during the day that will capture your attention and possibly make you forget about what you vowed to do in the evening. You might also simply get tired and don't feel in the mood to push yourself once again. At the same time, don't limit yourself by making an excuse that you've run out of self-control. Try to exercise your willpower muscle, whether it's in the morning or in the evening. The moment you can't lift a certain weight or continue running is largely in your head and you can often push it. Why that wouldn't be the case when it comes to self-control. Day 223, on clear cues and rewards. People who have successfully started new exercise routines show they are more likely to stick with a workout plan if they choose a specific cue, such as running as soon as they get home from work, and a clear reward, such as a beer or an evening of guilt-free television. Charles Duhigg. According to best-selling author Charles Duhigg, a habit consists of a cue, a signal to perform a habit, a routine, action, and a reward for engaging in the habit. This loop, when repeated over and over again, creates an automatic behavior. When creating new habits, make sure that you have clear cues and rewards. This will help you introduce new routines with less resistance. For example, if you want to start running every morning, keep your running shoes by your bed and before you leave, put your coffee mug on the table in the kitchen so that when you get back, coffee will serve as a reward for a job well done. One thing to be aware of is that your reward can't undo the benefits of the habit. If you want to reward yourself for exercising by eating a giant pizza, you'll be taking one step forward and 2 steps back each time you engage in such a habit loop. Instead, think of a healthier, less caloric reward, a smoothie, some nuts, a piece of fruit, or something that has nothing to do with eating, such as an hour spent reading a book, watching your favorite TV series, or taking a long bath. Please note that in the beginning a new habit like jogging in the morning can be unpleasant, but with time the action itself can be a reward. A workout can produce a feel-good endorphin rush. Some effective cues include another habit, like engaging in a positive habit after you finish brushing your teeth, a certain place, like getting back home after work and immediately sitting down to work on your side business for an hour, or a certain time, Each day at 6 p.m. you spend 15 minutes stretching. Day 224, on juggling 5 balls. Imagine life is a game in which you are juggling 5 balls. The balls are called work, family, health, friends, and integrity. And you're keeping all of them in the air. But one day you finally come to understand that work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. The other 4 balls are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it will be irrevocably scuffed, nicked, perhaps even shattered. James Patterson. Self-discipline and your long-term goals are important, but throughout all of my books, I periodically emphasize that life isn't only about accomplishment. In fact, your well-being, living with integrity, and the relationships you have with your friends and family matter more than everything else. What's the point of self-improvement if you can't share your successes and failures with others? Is being super rich worth it if you've developed a reputation of a crook? Does it make sense to lose your health just to get a promotion at work? When balancing between different aspects of your life, always prioritize the glass balls over the rubber one. You can always accomplish your goals later, but you can't always restore relationship with your family, revive your friendships, recover your health, or regain trust. Spend 5 minutes today thinking whether you're careful enough when handling the glass balls in your life. How often do you ignore your health or family to focus on work? How can you work on your goals in a more sustainable way that would reduce the risk of losing your health, integrity, or relationships?